So hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. So guys, in this video I'll try to explain you some most common interview questions related like manual and automation perspective. So here I actually have written some most important interviewed questions. Okay, that I have got some frequently. So suppose if you are a beginner, then this interview questions for you. If you are advanced level, then it is not for you. These interview questions are basically targeting that audience like for 0 to 2 years of experience role. Okay, so I'm very particular for this. If you have more than 2 years of experience, then this interview question is not for you. You can skip this video and you can wait for that other video. There I will show you that most important interview questions for more than 3 years of experience guy. So if you are a facer, if you are looking for QA related job, and if you have less than of 2 years of experience, then these interview questions is for you. So guys, let me start this video guys. So first question is like, what is the difference between QA, QC and testing? So guys, this that questions I have got so many times, okay, during my earlier stage. So here let me clear that QA, QC and testing, there is different role. So QA means quality assurance and QC means like quality control. So what is the quality assurance basically? So quality assurance is for preventing the defect in software development life cycle. And here you are not checking the product, here you are trying to prevent the defect before it's appearing. Okay, so here you have to be more focused with some methodologies part, like how you have to prevent the defect, like what kind of approach you have to take care with that, like you have to come up with some test cases, that is a branch of documentation. You have to come up with that some defect report, so that is another kind of documentation. So this kind of processes you need to define here. Quality control is nothing but you have to identify the defect in actual product. Okay, so here you have to review it, you have to testing the product in various stages for identify and fix the defect. So what is the difference between quality assurance and quality control? So main difference is like quality assurance is a basically part of preventing, quality control is a basically part of testing. And what is the testing role? So testing is actually execution of test cases, and this is a process for verifying the software that actually meets that our user requirement or not. So here actually that both activities involving like quality assurance and quality control, both activity are involving in testing. So there is branch of testing methodologies are quite large. Okay, it is a quite large. Here you are checking the softwares, here you are checking the actual product, here you are checking that some kind of different connections and all. So these all are comes under testing guys. Now what are the different type of testing in software engineering? So inside the software engineering, there are different kind of testings are there. Okay, like unit testing, integration testing, system testing, then acceptance testing, regression testing, smoke testing, and sanity testing. Another thing is like, so this kind of testing thing is there. So you have to tell that everything in quite a brief way. Like what is the unit testing basically? Here actually check the individual component like code, functions, method, checking the loop. So this is nothing but our unit testing that mostly has done by developer. Then we have integration testing. So here we are checking that data flow between the two modules. So here integration testing we can do on following two ways, like top to bottom approach and bottom to top approach by the help of stubs and drivers. We have to explain that what is stub and what is driver. Then system testing. So here you're testing that complete system and whole system you are testing. So it is also called as an end-to-end testing. So you have branch of cases that you are executing that full cases here. Then we have acceptance testing. So basically here we are checking the business requirements. So you are mainly checking the use cases for that. Then we have regression testing. So basically you are checking that bug fixes, and due to that bug fixes, that if this bug fixes is not affected on any like old area or not, that thing you have to test, take care, you have to test it. So there is nothing but our regression testing. Smoke testing. So here you are checking that like software in like just a cloudy way. You just go with that flow, and you can you are checking that everything is working fine or not. Then sanity testing, it is a more narrow approach, so you are checking that my software working functionality is proper or not. So this thing. Then we have performance testing. Inside performance testing, you are checking the load testing, so system is able to test the load properly or not. Stability testing, you are ensuring that system can handle that load if that I increase the load continuously. Then usability testing, you have to check that UI should not be broken, it should not be like collided if that giving that load, if that browser size I'm minimizing it. So this kind of thing you have to test it. So these all are part of testing time. Then most important question is like software deployment life cycle, and what are its phases. So basically they actually ask what is the SDLC, and you need to explain that SDLC in quite brief way. So here I have given like answer like SDLC is a full procedure. Through that procedure like we can develop that software, high quality software. So we have some key phases like requirement gathering. So here we are to gather the requirement from the client side. So we are also gathering the functional requirement, non-functional requirement. Functional requirement in the sense of some features, some user stories, we are gathering it. Non-functional requirement in the sense of like how that system architecture should be, how that system can handle the load, and these kind of things. Then we have design. So based upon that our requirement, like architect will design the software, architect will design that HDL, HLD and LLD of the system. So HLD means like high level design, LLD means low level design. Similar way, then implementation like actual coding phases happen. So here all developers are taken small features or user story and task, and they have started writing the code. And then tester job is there. So here testers are trying to checking the functionality, performance, security, stability of the system. They are mostly breaking the system. They're checking that system is proper as per requirement or not. Then deployment, so it actually taken care by DevOps team. They are deploying their product in their customers environment, or sometimes if their company is product based company, they're deploying in a company's inside server itself. Then maintenance, once the deployment has done, then some person will be there. They are actually supporting the product, they are mentoring the product, they're understanding the code base, and based upon code base, if there any code got mismatch, they are putting the patch. They are actually solves the configuration related issues and all. So this all comes under maintenance part. Then what is the difference between black box testing and white box testing? This is another kind of question. So black box testing is nothing but a where that testers are involved, and white box testing where the developers are involved. So black box testing here like we are checking the software based upon requirement, based upon our test cases. So we are also checking that system is able to handle the load or not. These things comes under black box testing, guys. White box testing, basically we are checking the code. So code logic, code path, code branches, code conditions should be proper, code should be more modular. So maintainability of code is increasing. So this kind of thing we are checking here. So this kind of example, you need to tell like functional testing, system testing, acceptance testing, and white box testing like unit testing, integration testing. These things comes under white box testing, guys. So integration testing here, it is not properly comes under white box testing. It is also comes under black box testing. But why I have put it here in white box testing? Because integration testing sometimes before deploying the product in test bed, developers also tested that through integration testing. They are getting a sample like stub or sample driver, and they are taking checking the data flow between these two modules. So that's why I have put that integration testing inside white box. Then what is the test cases, and inside the test case what is included? So this thing is another important question, guys. So basically here you need to tell like what is the test cases, and how that test plan you need to means like how many components are there inside the test case that you need to tell here. So test case is basically a condition or steps for verifying the software application related work. So here, test cases, to the test cases you can get to know what thing need to be tested and what kind of procedure I need to do and what is the actual result and what kind of data I need to provide. So everything should be proper inside the test cases. So test scenario is like a single line, but test case is a detailed document where that user can see that every path of this. So test case basically contain the test cases ID. So that is a identifier for for each and every test cases. Then test cases description. So here a brief description about test cases that should be there. Then test steps, like how what kind of steps I need to follow. That steps we need to check it, like execution order. It should be written in proper execution order. That also need to check. Then expected result. So like after executing that steps, what kind of result I'm getting, that result I need to write in there. Actual result, like if I executing these test cases in real world application, then what kind of result I'm getting, that you need to put it. Status, like pass and fail. Preconditions, like what kind of conditions you need to validate before start executing test cases. Post condition, after completing your execution, what kind of conditions you need to put it. So these all are components for test cases. Another thing is what is regression testing and why it is important. Like guys, that regression testing is nothing but a testing where user are actually checking that after getting bug fixes or after making some changes inside the software code, these code should not be should not be break any other code, or this functionality or these features should not be break any other features. So that's why we have branch of regression cases. We need to execute that regression cases. So it is kind of insurance that my every functionality is is intacted. It is not broken. So what is the important bit, for this regression testing? Regression testing actually build up the confidence that our build is stable, and this build we can deploy inside the customer. I have seen so many example in my life where that some code has like broke some existing features, some existing critical features it broke. That's why regression testing is very much important. Without regression testing you can't release the product itself. So regression testing is a pretty much needed. It is a very much important and integrated part of the software testing, guys. Then what is the role of automation tester? So from automation tester side, this is the very important question. So automation tester role is basically to understand the manual testing cases and need to write that automated cases, need to write that automated test script. So that while regression time we just need to run that cases. And so for that way automation tester can improve the productivity of that entire team. And so for the different kind of tools are there, like Selenium, JUnit, TestNG. So these all are basically using for automation script purpose. We have to sometimes we have to set up the test environment for for automating a test. We need to analyze the report, automated report, like automated pass percentage, fail percentage, this kind of thing. And we have to maintain and update the automated script where when that applications are in evolving. So that things also we need to take care. Then what kind of most common automation tools you have worked with? This is that another important questions. So Selenium is widely used tool in automating application across the different browsers. Then Jenkins, that is for continuous integration and deployment purpose. It is basically a testing pipeline you have to create it. TestNG, it is a framework basically for Java developer. APIM, if you are going with that application, mobile application related thing, then APM is a very important automation tool. It is like a similar like a Selenium, but it is working in different way. Then JUnit, it is also testing framework, and it is basically using a mostly in unit testing time. Cucumber, it is a behavioral BDD framework that actually allows that test cases that anybody can understand it. Postman, that is basically for API testing and automation. Another is REST SEO. If you have worked with the REST SEO, then that is also a kind of a good thing. It is actually follows that Cucumber like language, like working language. So this kind of tool you need to explain it. Then, what is the difference between smoke testing and sanity testing, guys? This is the question that every interviewer asked me like earlier days. Like, what is the difference between smoke and sanity testing? I haven't found any interview where that this question hasn't asked by interviewer. So, smoke testing is a primarily focus the basic functionality, guys. Sanity testing, it is a more specific. It Another thing is smoke testing. It is a kind of wide and cloudy approach. So we are only checking that cloudy way that our test case execution is proper. But sanity testing, it is a more narrow approach. We are going deep sometimes. Okay, so also it is actually smoke testing verifies the application is stable enough for further testing, but sanity testing, it is kind of check the system behavior. Okay, now it is more focused than smoke testing. That thing you need to tell it. Okay, then what is the bug life cycle or what is the defect life cycle? This is the another common questions I have faced. So bug life cycle is or defect life cycle, it is a various stages where the defect actually goes through from its start to its resolution time. So here mostly include some following like stages like new, assign, open, fix, retest, close, reopen. So these kind of stages are there. Also some extra stages like deferred, like this kind of rejected. So this kind of stages are there. You can search it from Google or you can take that any reference for that. So this defect life cycle is a very important concept. You have to tell that what is the defect and what is the defect life cycle, how many stages are involving, how that defect life cycle is going to work. So you have to understand, you have to tell the proper cycle. So first cycle comes from like this. First, software developer actually software tester is rising the defect. So defect status is new. Then it comes to software developer. So the software developer is change the status from new to assign. Then it comes to open. So developer started working on that. Once defect is getting fixed, then it actually they change the status as in fixed. Then uh, again it should be retest by software tester. If the defect is got fixed, then tester should change the status to close, and if it is still open, then again it will be reopen status. Then let's comes to automation perspective. So they will ask questions like what is the test automation? So test automation is a process where that manual testing processes manual testing cases should be converted to automation script by that help of automation tool and by the help of automating framework. So here we mostly check the load, mostly check the regression, and some effective task we need to do, like we need to check that migration testing, we need to check that data related testing. So these kind of things we need to do. So what is the benefit for test automation? So it is a more faster, it is more improve the test coverage, it is a faster feedback during continuous integration time, and it actually runs that different platforms simultaneously, like cross browser platform, cross platform testing. This kind of testing we can do. And also it is a reusable, so we can reuse the test script multiple time. So this is the called test automation. Then what is the Selenium? So Selenium is the most popular open source tool for automating that web browser. Sorry for that, this is not a framework, it is a tool. So it allows the tester to write the automation script for web application in various programming language like Java, Python, C Sharp, .NET, Ruby, JavaScript. And we have a branch of components like Selenium Web Driver, that is a core component that actually directly mimic that web browser. And inside that web driver, every operation has will be executed, and Then Selenium grids, that is for parallel execution. You need to set up that Selenium grid server. So here one hub and some branch of nodes are there. So through that hub you can control the nodes. Selenium ID, so it is a browser plugin. So through that way you can record that and you can change that to script. Then what is the difference between Selenium WebDriver and Selenium RC or remote control? That questions also, it is a very common question. So RC is a basically older tool and based upon JavaScript, and it actually interact with that web application through a server. But Selenium WebDriver, it is a more efficient tool in Selenium. Selenium directly communicate with the WebDriver using browser native support for automation. So this is the difference between that RC and Selenium WebDriver. Now, what is the advantages of Selenium WebDriver and RC? So, first is like faster execution. Another is browser support. Third is better handling for dynamic web element like XPath, like dynamic IDs, CSS selector. We have support. Then another thing is, what is the page object model in Selenium? This is the most common questions in my earlier days I have faced. So page object model or POM, it is a design pattern. So through that pattern, we can make that every pages as a module. So if that user is needed, if I want to rewrite, I want to reuse that automation script again and again, instead of writing that same locator in every script, what should I do? I'll create a page object and I'll just like call that page object with that my script. So that is the most advantages is like, so here we can create that reusability, maintainability. We can write that code in modular way. So this is that most common questions. And how can we do that page object model? So we can use by in Selenium, or we can use page factory. So preferable to use page factory, because page factory is initialize that all located in a single shot. But by, if I using by method, then it is not then we need to initialize each and every locator while executing the test script. So this is the difference. So more page factory is a more efficient manner to handle this problem. Then what is the difference between find element and find elements in Selenium? So find element, actually it is a method to find a single element inside the web page, and find elements is you can find that list of web element. So like find element, through that way you can find it, and it is actually returning a single element, and sometimes it is throwing no such element exception if that element is not founded by Selenium WebDriver or Selenium locators. And five elements, here you have to store that element inside that map, hash map, list, and it is return that empty list. So basically it hasn't written that any kind of exception. So this is the difference between find element and find elements. So these things interviewer ask. Then what is the difference between driver.get method, driver.navigate to method? So through the driver.get method is basically given, it actually wait that until the page loads completely, and navigate to, it is actually navigating that interface. So through that way, for like it navigates that specific URL. So it is kind of similar between similar like gate, and but the main differences is that it is providing method for navigating back, forward, and replacing that web page through a browser. So that's why navigate dot to method is used. Then what is the most commonly Selenium WebDriver method? So basically we have get method. So here we are passing that our URL, get title. So we are getting the title from that specific like URL. Get current URL, so we are getting the current URL. Find element by locator, that is most important. Find elements, if that we have multiple elements and we need to find that elements in one shot. Dot click method, send key method. So through a we can send that our text to inside that any field like text field and all. Then get text method, it will retrieve that text from locator. Get window handle method, so through that way we can handle that window. That dot close and dot quit method. So dot close method is basically used for closing that browser window. Dot quit method is actually quitting that whole browser itself. So these things also interviewer asks sometimes. Then what is the difference between explicit wait and implicit wait? So these things actually important question, implicit and explicit wait, on what kind of weights are there inside the Selenium driver. So basically weight inside the Selenium driver, that is a most important question. So here inside that Selenium we have branch of different weight like implicit weight and explicit weight. For explicit weight we are using web driver weight method. So here I have given one example, like first we need to initialize that one WebDriver wait object, then we need to put that method wait dot until, then we have to put that our condition. And although sometimes we are using thread dot sleep method, and implicit wait we just need to use like dot implicit method for this. So what is the difference between implicit and explicit? Explicit is like a more intelligent wait, implicit or implicit is like a normal wait. Thread or script we can't use inside the web script because it is not recommended. Another question is like, what is the purpose of that at the test annotation inside the test ng? So guys, if you are telling like the test ng framework, then they will ask this question, what is that at the rate test annotation? So basically this is actually using to check that using to run that test cases inside the test ng framework. So through this test annotation, you can run the cases. Also, you need to explain like before method, after method annotation, before class, after class annotation. You need to tell that what is the flow, execution flow. So first it will start before class. So before starting that class it will execute, then before method, then test annotation, then after method, then after class test annotation. Like that way you have to explain that. Now then they will ask like then it is another important questions like, what is the CI/CD pipeline? So CI/CD pipeline is basically used for like integrated that your code based and to your any repo. So if that code is getting updated in a single day or several time in a day, so it should not be break, and so you have to build a pipeline for this. See, continuous testing is that a kind of procedure, and where that you need to test that pipeline rapidly, CI/CD pipeline rapidly, and you need to execute your automation script inside that CI/CD pipeline. And the CD is like continuous deployment, so it will automatically deploy inside the test bed or that server you are using that. Then another question is like, what is the difference between data driven testing and keyword driven testing? So data driven testing is basically you have to store the data inside that CSV, Excel file and databases. So and then it will be fetching inside the test script. But keyword driven is like you have to create the keywords, and that keyword like click keyword, input keyword, verify keyword. So basically it is like a function kind of thing. So based upon that your keyword, that inside that keyword itself you are putting that your data sources. So these kind of some common questions I have explained in this video. I hope this video is actually helpful for you. And if you like this video, please like this video, subscribe my channel, help me to grow inside that YouTube, and please do comment. Tell me what thing you need to like learn from my side, and I'll definitely make that video for that. Thank you for your valuable time, and thanks for watching.